Chef Mitch makes
our
it.
chef who supports you made it. But I'll tell you, this is Mark Charles Masilli, and we're talking about the Architec Rubberwood Concave carving board. Before you ask, rubberwood is a real thing. It is real wood.
It is a real wood.
And it is a solid wood.
It's a durable solid wood that is water resistant.
Yes.
And less porous and more solid for not absorbing odors and liquids.
Can I also tell you that when you pick this cutting board up,
yes,
and you look at it straight on, it slightly dips in the middle. That's what we mean by concave.
Mm-hmm.
It dips in the middle. So when you put a prime rib on here, what happens to the juices? They collect right around the middle. Look at that steak.
It's everything's.
Because I am, a giver.
Yep.
Or in this case, a taker. I'm going to taste that steak
here you go,
to let you know that it's okay. But look at this. It's all
in the middle. What you don't realize
in its own juices.
What you don't realize in a traditional cutting board, even a flat one like this, okay? Here's a great cutting board, okay? The thing is, when you put something on this cutting board, because there is no concave to it, all the juices are gonna fly off and over. The juices are the most important thing. When your proteins are sitting, after you've barbecued, after you seared them, pan-seared them, or put them in the oven, you need them to sit in their own juices, even before you cut them. Well, you can't have them sit in their own juices if you're on a flat board or plate where it pulls it away. The other thing that's very interesting growing up was the old type of cutting boards had the canal around. Well, the canal around the traditional cutting board was to capture all the gravies, the moat.
The moat.
Well, you know what? That's actually pulling it all away. This is an incredible, I'm going to take this dry one and show you. So this father and son team, John and Brad Pittman, they are from South Carolina. They own a shop, right? The shop's called Coastal Cupboard in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
In Pittner.
Pittner. They created this it took 3 years engineering this curve, if you will, or this concave. That's where the concave came from. It's so subtle you don't even see it. If I even show you up like this, just to show you, you barely see it, but it's there. That's gonna hold up to 1 cup, remind you, 1 cup of liquid. And now every protein, from a turkey to a pork butt to a prime rib to a ham, will keep in its own juices.
Now, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina is just outside Charleston. And so if you are looking for something that will catch all those juices, the orange or the lemon or the pineapple glaze that you're doing on your Easter ham, this is the perfect way to get about it. I can tell you 400 of these are now gone. Mark Charles, probably one of the best ways to illustrate this, if we can go over to an empty board
yes, I'm gonna get you,
and actually just pour out a cup of liquid. How about that?
So here's the, because I know it's so hard to see on television. So you think this is a flat board, but this is an engineered curve that took 3 years and a lot of engineers to figure out the perfect curve, because I still want to be able to use this as a flat board. Think about cutting pineapple or watermelon. All the juices stay in the middle. I have 1 cup, if you can see right here, 1 cup of liquid right from the top.
Got it.
See that? Right there. See the 1 cup? Now I'm going to actually just pour it right down the middle. This is 1 cup of, think of gravy. Even just grease or fat, anything that is rendered from any protein is now going to stay in the middle, keeping your proteins moist and delicious, because everybody knows when you spend that kind of money on the proteins that we cook, the amount of time and skill to barbecue, saute, pan-sear them, put them in the oven, they need to sit in their own juices. A flat board could never hold 1 cup of gravy or juice or sauce like this. Now you create a marinade, now you're keeping everything moist, it's absorbing back like a sponge. You're going to have more flavorful proteins if you trap all the juices in the middle. That's what the concave board does.
This one-day only price is only good until end of day today, and only while our remaining supply lasts. How many are gone already, Sean? 700 are already gone. 4 easy payments on your credit card of $6.25. You got a lot of opportunities to use this coming up very immediately. How many of you are going to do some beautiful meals for St. Patty's Day, right into Easter, obviously, prime rib, ham.
Passover for brisket.
Oh my word.
And by the way, Father's Day gift, I think this is the ultimate, because this is
for barbecue.
For dad, for barbecue. This was created when John created this. He's a barbecuer, okay? And he actually competes in barbecues, and he realized that all this great protein that he barbecued was then all escaping, all the juice was escaping, and when you let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, it was drying out because it wasn't sitting in its own juices anymore, okay? Look at this prime rib, David. You're gonna love this.
All right, I'm all over the prime rib.
Okay? When you do something and you know how much a prime rib is, okay? You want to be able to cut into this, and this is a decent sized one, so this board is a great size for that. and you want to create, look at all the juices coming out of that prime rib sitting right in there. Is that not beautiful? All those juices, all that work, all that money. A prime rib is not a cheap piece of meat at all. When you cook it well. You want it to sit in its own juices. Look how it traps everything. There's no fear, and that's a decent size piece of prime rib. Do you not agree with me?
I do. I was just going in for a little meat candy.
Okay. So the other thing we love to do is things like when you do a pork butt, you want to do the pulled pork. Look at the size of this. It's sitting in its own juices, okay? And of course, nothing's better with pulled pork than having your own barbecue sauce. So first, I'm going to use the board and actually do the shredding. And what's important to note is the shredding can be all done on this board with all the juices, no matter how much juice comes out of there. Not to worry, because it's all going to stay in there. And I'm going to actually add to it and say that I can do something like, I'll just do a portion right now so you can see. Okay, there's that.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Pulled pork tacos.
Oh, yeah.
With a fresh salsa.
Yes, please.
Right? And
yes,
some
please.
Pico de Gallo, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, maybe some guacamole.
Look, I have no
and
worries. I have no. I love when you go off on a food tangent. I love you. I love you.
You were right the first time. It's a food rage. That's what it is.
But again, look, I just added and here's the thing. Let's add some more. We're talking about a cup. You could never do this on a regular board with that fear of it sliding all the way off. Even to the edge where I'm at, that concave starts here and comes all the way down. It is engineered. Why is that important, David? Because what John and Brad wanted to do with this
One thing I
one.
want you to do before we go, pour on this one.
Yeah, solid. Oh, and check the feet. We got to talk about the feet.
And the non-slip gripper feet.
Gripper feet, so you never need a wet paper towel or towel. It's never going to slip on any surface you put this on. So now it's a workstation that's permanent. It's going to stay there and not move on you. So that's really important. The other thing to note, because it took so long to engineer this curve, I want to point something out. They did it so when you're cutting regular things, the curve is actually natural to the curve of a knife. So you're using less pressure on your knife on the edge of the blade. When you have a flat edge, it's actually going to damage the blade more. So they actually have that curve. So even just cutting vegetables on here really adds a benefit because you're putting less damaging force on your knives because of that curve. It goes along with the curve of a knife.
I was doing a little prime rib research.
How's everything going
Perfect.
with that? Okay.
So far, good.
So do you want to show them? We're going to show them again about the.
We're going to need a lot more testing, though.
I know you're just
the prime
so
rib.
good at it. We're going to do it again to show you. I know it's very difficult to see on television, but I'm promising you there is such a slight engineered curve on here that is still good enough to use and cut regular vegetables. But think about cutting a pineapple or watermelon, all that juice is staying here. Let's prove it to you. We've got 1 cup of gravy in here and the board. I'm going to pour it right in the middle and show you that because of this engineered concave curve, this is not going to spill because of the curve.
2,000 of these are now gone. Yes. We're very, very busy. Let's welcome Laurel in Texas. Laurel, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Hi, David. How are you?
Doing very well. We hope you are.
I'm fabulous, and I totally love this cutting board. It's just very clever to have a little bit lower in the center so everything doesn't run off the side.
Exactly. And when you've got those gorgeous cuts of meat that you've A, paid a lot of money for, and B, spent a lot of time preparing, you want to make sure that you don't rob them of all that moisture and on those great flavorful juices.
Right. And when you're cutting meat, you're busy. You don't want to have to be worrying about messing up the kitchen. You can just concentrate on getting dinner on the table.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
But this is really cool that the meat actually sits in the juice while you're preparing and serving. That's really
And you
beautiful.
realize, Laurel, that's the way to keep it juicy. Think about it. Our old traditional way, if you had the canal and it went away, you're drying out the meat. You want it to sit in its own juices. That's what's resting in the protein.
It's really amazing that it took somebody this long to think of this. This is very clever.
John and his son Brad were like so desperate in South Carolina. They're big barbecuers, and they were like, this is the problem. He would go and spend all this money on a beautiful piece of meat, and then it would sit there, and then he'd look outside on his barbecue, and it had run all down off the cutting board. And that's why they created this.
And the fact that you have the little grippy feet on the bottom is just the cherry on top.
Yeah, let's show that again. I think it's a great point. Because it's a silly thing, but not many cutting boards have this. And every time we're cutting, it's slipping all over whatever surface we're putting it on. John thought about putting these gripper feet on here. This is silicone. It's not going to stain or create odors. It's never going to come off. And it's a perfect permanent part of this board.
It's fabulous. And then, like I said, just like I said earlier, when you're busy cutting the main course and trying to get it on the table, you don't want to have to worry about sliding around and sauce dripping off the sides and all that. So
solves all the problems.
I bought this for I bought this for my fiance in Oregon because he's starting to cook more, and I think he's going to love it.
Well, you know what, Laurel? I wish you were here because we could serve you some delicious prime rib.
Oh
my God.
I'm dying.
I love
I'm
the
dying.
ends.
Well, this is
Well,
going to be perfect. We'll get it out to you straight away, okay?
Love it. I'm a fan. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. All the best to you and yours, okay?
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Be
Thanks,
well.
Laura.
Bye-bye.
Did you see
So-
what Stacey almost did?
She almost ran in front of a live camera.
Oh, it was so
Yeah,
awesome.
she did. Yes, she did.
And
But
she was
she-
like the kid who got caught in the cookie jar.
Well,
she
you
was
know,
like, oh,
what she did is she put on brakes.
she did. And she's like, back it up, back it up,
Hey,
back it up.
I can
back
break
it up.
in heels. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
In heels.
Some talent.
She had it reversed. Beep, 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 beep. They backed it up.